That's such a great point, Marcy. And of course, we do have some tape of James Clapper. He's the Director of National Intelligence. He's in charge of more than 16, I believe, intelligence agencies in the United States, which is a staggering number. And I think many people would even be shocked just to know that there are that many agencies. Here's how he explained essentially that lie that he made in a hearing last year to Ron Wyden. This is sound element number 9.
I have great respect for Senator Wyden. I thought, though, in retrospect, I was asked, when are you going to stop beating your wife kind of question, which is meaning not answerable necessarily by a simple yes or no. So I responded in what I thought was the most truthful or least untruthful manner by saying no.
So essentially he stands by lying. I mean, that is what that came down to. It was a pretty simple question. And of course, as the New York Times has pointed out, Alberto Gonzalez, when asked something similar about whether the government was listening in on their phone calls, he just didn't lie. He said, that's classified and I can't answer that question. So that's evasive, but at least he didn't lie. And, you know, it brings up such an important point, which is that if this is no big deal and this is no news here, then why are they so furious that it was revealed? And why are they so furious that now the public knows something that they claim that the public already authorized? On the flip side of that, of course, Senator Dianne Feinstein, the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, has called Edward Snowden a traitor. Bill Nelson, a Democratic senator from Florida, has called him a traitor, guilty of treason. Speaker John Boehner has. By all accounts, law enforcement agencies are pursuing him aggressively. But as Senator John Tester from Montana, a Democrat from Montana, pointed out, there's really nothing that violates security here. Presumably terrorists already knew that they're being spied on by the United States government in some capacity and take extraordinary measures to avoid being detected.
Right. And so the question is why, and the people who you named who are calling him a traitor, by the way, all of them had heightened awareness of these programs. All of them are the people who for a long time have been saying, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. They're on the line. And so no wonder they think he's a traitor for exposing what they have been downplaying at best and sometimes misrepresenting as well, because they're the ones who okayed this knowing far more than most of Congress actually does. One of the other reasons I think why the government is really embarrassed and angry that the data grab, the dragnet collection of American metadata in particular, is that the government has avoided real court and scrutiny of all these programs, as opposed to just the FISA court's very narrowly constricted ability to approve certain aspects of this program. The government has avoided real court scrutiny of it by ensuring that nobody ever gets standing in an Article 3 court, meaning they're making sure that I can never sue them and get discovery into what's really going on, and letting a judge say, not did that intercept abide by certain narrow rules, but instead, is that intercept and the larger program it's part of, does it comply with the Fourth Amendment? So nobody's actually weighed in on that yet. And one of the reasons they haven't is because these details have always remained secret and no one's been able to prove in court that, for example, the government has been collecting all of our metadata.
You know, and Marcy, one of the things you also point out is that some of these claims are auditable after the fact. In other words, if the government targets a particular metadata point that they cull from all this stuff that they're storing, they can basically do it, whether it's with a FISA court order or based on sort of their own interpretation of the Patriot Act. And if you think that your rights were violated, you can ask to have them audited after the fact. But that's, you know, I mean, that's obviously a very imperfect system.